Hey everybody, welcome back to my aquaponics garden. As you can see, we've got a lot of tilapia running around in that tank. And it's one of 4 tanks that I've got here at the house. And the reason I'm posting this video today is because we're going to harvest out of this bed. I have actually several beds. And you can see the little yellow flower at the top of this one. This is Choy Sum. I've been growing that this spring, and we've got a lot of plants here. And now it's time to clip those little sprouts there and then make some cold Choy Sum like you would see in a Korean restaurant. You can also make this into the oyster sauce, Choy Sum with oyster sauce. But today I'm going to make it into the cold Choy Sum. I'll pick it and I'll bring it to the kitchen. Alright, before we go to the kitchen, I wanted to show you a little bit of this Choy Sum plant that's been trimmed. So when I come in here, I take off the stems, and you can see the places down in the bottom here where I've clipped it off. And yet, right at the top, you can also see the new ones starting in. So right at the base of that leaf, you can see a new little plant starting, or a new little sprout starting to come through. So that's what we want to do. We want to clip these guys down, take as many good leaves as we can. I could have taken a couple more leaves off of this one, but I've got so many plants that I think I just left this one work on its new growth, and then I'll come back out in about a week and I'll trim it again. So that's what we get when we get a lot of these. I've got plenty of plants out here. You can see the stems, the darker parts that look dry. That's from our last cutting. And then you can see the one there on the far left side right there. That's from today's cutting. So these are old cuttings here, and this is new cuttings here. So we are able to get multiple cuttings off of these plants. Probably 5 to 10 cuttings total out of one plant. Alright, let's go cook it up. Here's my bucket of Choy Sum that I picked off of each of those plants. There's quite a bit in this bucket, even though it will only be probably about 4 or 5 servings as it cooks down. You can see here each plant has maybe a little bit of a bud at the top. You can see the bud there. And the stem on the bottom is quite thick, but it will be tender and it will cook down very nicely when we blanch it. So we're going to do that next. Going to put it in some hot water for only about a minute, and then we'll cool it down in a strainer and then work through the spice part. One thing I really like about Choy Sum is that it has very few pests that like to go after it. So very few bugs. I didn't have any bugs come out of this batch that I had picked earlier. And we've got our pot here. All we're going to do, I'm just going to dump this entire amount into the pot and cook it down for about a minute. And then I'll put it back in the strainer, and we're going to squeeze most of the liquid out of it and strain all that liquid out in the next step. So give me a second to get that going, and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, here it is at the bottom of the pot. I don't want this to sit on the heat too long, otherwise it'll get a little soft. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it off and drain it out. Literally 30 seconds in there, and that's all it takes. You throw that whole pile in there, it cooks down to almost nothing. Alright, into the strainer it goes. Alright, here's my cooked Choy Sum in the classic old mixing bowl. And then here's my sauce. Sauce has 1 tablespoon of sesame oil, 2.5 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a little bit of green onion, just maybe 1 strand of green onion chopped up, and 1 clove of garlic. You can do 2 cloves of garlic, that works, and also a teaspoon of sugar in there. Mix that around, and we'll mix it into our Choy Sum, and I'll show you what it looks like on the plate. Well, and there you have it, a side dish of cooked, cold Choy Sum with sesame oil dressing. And show you. Put a little toasted sesame seeds on the top, and very yummy. Hope you enjoyed this.